Hi team, Coach Alexa here, coach for Reading, South Oxfordshire and online. I've been reading more books that strictly speaking aren't specific to running, but I often find it's useful to kind of read around the whole area of health, well-being and fitness, because I always find something, the impact of being a running coach, I suspect, in these books that I can take away from a running and a running coaching perspective. The one I finished recently is When the Body Says No. Now, this is written from a medical perspective. The author is a doctor. But what it talks about is the impact of our lives on the sources of stress and upset, and in some cases, really challenging circumstances that crop up in people's lives on us physically and mentally. And if the impact of the way we deal with those things mentally has on our bodies, as well as the things that happen themselves. So, whilst this book, I guess, gives examples that are more extreme in a way, and this is how life's extreme stresses and also how we deal with them can impact our health status and our likelihood of developing certain illnesses. I think at a less extreme version, it kind of makes sense that if it can potentially impact your body in that much of a noticeable way, your immune system, your digestive system, your cardiovascular system, then it kind of makes sense to me that it could also, before you get to that very more noticeable point, start to have a bit of an impact on your training. And there's certainly more discussion generally within sports coaching, within the world of physiotherapy, for example, about the impact of what else is going on in people's lives, their work, their social, their family situations, and also from a psychological perspective, how they deal with and kind of process those situations that affects their bodies and their rate of healing of injuries, for example. So, couple of takeaways that I took from this book. There's stuff obviously that you can't control. Some people are handed a pretty nasty deck of cards at the beginning of our lives or at some point during our lives, situations that are hard and upsetting and horrible to have to deal with. But there are also aspects of which where we can control the way we, I guess, kind of approach and deal with those situations. So giving yourself time to listen to how your body and brain reacts to those situations, and also respecting your own being enough to realise that you need rest, disconnect time and time for yourself. So one of the biggest interesting things that came up for me in this book was that for people who struggle to say no to others, who were always offering their help and support to others, and are doing so at a detriment to actually giving themselves the support they're offering to others, can be more likely to take longer to recover from illnesses, or more likely to come down with certain illnesses because it impacts your immune system. Who would have thought, hey? So tying back into this conversation that I've had in some of these videos before about allowing ourselves that disconnection time, genuine, inactive, calming rest time for us, not constantly doing stuff for other people, our families, our employers, or etc. Where possible, because I realise it's not always easy, is really important for our own bodies and brains. And I certainly see with a number of the runners that I work with that all of the other stuff that's going on in their lives impacts the training they are able to do, but also their recovery from and adaptation to that training. So an interesting book, as I say, not running specific, but a real eye-opener for me about how complex we are, how from a sports coaching perspective, not just running but all sports, and also from a medical perspective, we tend to be quite specific and we look at the heart, or the strength in this muscle, or the digestive system as an individual thing, and actually we are whole beings where everything is part of a beautifully balanced, most of the time, and functioning system. And when you think of it like that, it's not surprising that stuff that happens in one area of our life can have quite a profound impact on other areas of ourselves, our brains and our bodies. So yeah, if if you fancy it, if you're interested in that topic. When the Body Says No. Recommended. Happy running.